want to talk about basically how we can integrate LLMs into our day-to-day work at levels, like with the autonomous driving level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we look at all those levels and we start to think about parallels, that's what I'll do. It just can see like, hey, some things will work at 0, some things will work at 3, or some things will work all the way with automation. And this came about in a LinkedIn post where the person was frustrated, or in some ways people were just thinking this is hype. And I think the problem is it is hype if you don't consider it relative to the problem you're trying to solve. And every particular problem will have a different level of application, and maybe none. So the first level 0, let's consider something simple, cover letters. I was listening to a podcast this week, and it became clear that maybe me using LLMs to write my cover letters to certain companies wasn't a great idea. So just a good reminder that maybe stick to Grammarly when you want to just write something, but make sure it sounds good. Level 1, we still keep it basic. We're just using a chat window. We're putting our content in here, maybe even some examples of our voice or past articles. And that's it. We're just going through it back and forth with the system to hopefully get it to help us write a better article or review it. It's great when it works, but still nothing special. We don't need LLM. We're just working out prompts, and it's not a bunch of data. Even our voice, you'll see, is pretty simple. Level 1, give it a try. So level 2, we get a bit more into automation here. We just take it up a notch. We're not pasting stuff into a chat window. We're automating the content coming in. A good example was changelogs. You might have 3, 4, 5 repositories where you're doing a lot of work, your team is, but you could send them all here. So the nice thing about LLM is that you don't need to code or do these things inside a code. You can just do it in these windows here, and you can add a source, you can add a repository, you can create a checking email and whatnot. So in this case, I added 2 repositories. Next, we can get the commit hooks coming in. And so as those hooks come in, the system just keeps track of them. And at the end of every week, I can then have it generate a report. And then when we talk about our voice, that is where we can have a style guide that says, hey, make it sound like me, and here's some examples of articles I wrote. So you get that ability to quickly pull in articles consistently, whatever it is, content. It keeps itself up to date, and then you could use a voice, so the tone of it is your tone. Even the audience. So another point here is you could say, okay, write this changelog for who? Is it for the developers, or is it for the business owners of the product? And again, it could just enable the LLM when you're chatting with a particular changelog. So let's go back to that collection. We could say, okay, produce this for this type of person, this type of audience. And again, we could just be sending these as emails. We could be putting a chat widget somewhere. Our point right now is just copy paste, level 2. We're just going to keep it simple, get stuff into our collection. In this case, we're not uploading them. We're using a source, and then that source builds up content, and we can see what happens from there. Of course, it's not perfect automation. We're going to, take our time, review it, maybe use only a little bit of it, but it just gets us going. And that's level 2. All right, level 3. So we're going to take that changelog a bit further. And again, level 3, we're building confidence and we're building automations. So we've been doing the changelog. We've been chatting with our system. We have built up confidence knowing, it takes the latest articles from that week and it builds a changelog. Now, I could go here and I could just say, give me only the content from the past week. So I could make a particular filter around that. Also, and what we're about to do is just create an output, and that output will basically say, we're going to send myself an email. We're going to create a prompt around that email to get the format the way they want it. Now, this prompt is a bummer because this is a template that will not help us in this case. So I'm going to type up a prompt that will ask the system to surface this data and then write a changelog. And then I'll save it as a template for later on, which is the nice part of this. I'm going to leave this prompt alone for a moment, but imagine this prompt is just trying to do that. So again, we're empowering their user to write prompts. And so level 3 is once this prompt is done, this user, which is me for right now, because I don't want to send this to anyone else, because I'm still building confidence level 3. I'm going to just send myself an email. Actually, I won't do this one here. So for the output, I don't want to send a daily email. I will add a weekly email, but just for example. So now on that output, I can get an email at the end of the week summarizing all these change logs that came in, and I've built up confidence with the system. I see that if the prompt is right, which again, I could paste my prompt over. So another good example of the ability to help people just get better at prompting. So I could take this particular prompt and pull it over to there, and it will then use that to write this particular email. Now it's only going to me. Level 3, though, is starting to see the automation come together in confidence in building, and then I will take that email and just paste it into a mailing list. Of course, I might fix it, but we're building up that confidence where I don't. Maybe level 2 is me fixing it. Level 3, though, is this moment of having it do these things and get to a place where I can more confidently then make the next step happen. Yes, that's how easy you can take the step to level 3 if it works. Again, you might stop at level 2, but you saw the value there. At level 2, you were able to just give yourself an extra pair of eyes, an extra look at an article. All this stuff adds up. We don't have assistants. We don't always have someone around to read the articles. So all these things are just helping to hopefully give you an extra set of eyes and hands. And so you might just stop at 2. You might just stop at 3. So the point is, how far can we go with this particular task? We'll find out in the next video. Okay, level 4 could be the end. Really, it's all we need. Level 5 we'll talk about in a moment, but level 4 is just us taking this proven solution where we know the system's taking in data every time we commit. We know the system is set to send an email every week. This says daily, but I'm going to add a weekly, Friday, for example. And so we're confident it's doing the job. And I turn it on to send it to everybody. Maybe there's a list of people. Maybe there's a mailing list. But that's the moment where level 4, you took a particular use case and you were able to apply automation. Level 5, I don't think I can show you in Larry Llama just yet, but I want to show you a sense of what can happen with that in a moment. So level 5, I can't show yet, but I think it's not that far off. We've now established level 4. We have this change log. It's sending every Friday. But now let's consider for a moment that we also have a customer feedback collection, which people using Google Forms or an email send us feedback on the change log or whatever, site changes, whatever. So now imagine this, though. We take another collection and we make a source called email, and people can send emails to it, or we have a Google web form that people are giving their feedback on. And maybe it's not a change log, maybe it's a newsletter, something people will give feedback on. And now we're taking that collection, we're collecting the data, we're processing the data, making prompts, and then with that, at the end of the week, we're not just sending a weekly change log, but our prompt includes the other collections value or sense of feedback. And so with the two collections in the right prompt, we could bring those together with agents or whatever you want to call it, and then say, okay, on this weekly changelog or newsletter, because the changelog is overkill for this, not only do we want to send a changelog, not only do we want our prompt that we have confidence in to continue working, but we want this feedback to be a part of that output as well. So yeah, you can just start seeing how this can be a self-improving system or balancing system, especially based on user feedback, customer feedback, which sometimes never gets applied anywhere. So again, level 5 is the ultimate, and you could achieve it without code, as you can see here. But it's just a look at one example. And there's so many different use cases in our day-to-day work. And that's it as we took a deep dive into this automation. Again, a level 5 full automation, as you saw, could be pretty crazy, pretty fun. But the rest of it is just try them, see how well it does for your particular task, and then the next task, you just keep trying. Check out the article here at dev.tech You can check out our website and continue to read the blog post. And of course, you can always just start using LLM on your own or have us help you get it set up. All right, thank you.